Hello. Under a recent video I made about Rachel Reeves' tax raid on pensions, I got a comment referring to the old saying that you shouldn't charge to malice what might more properly be attributed to stupidity, but that in this case it rather does look like malice, and in this case I'm inclined to agree. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. So, is Reeves really malicious, or is she just bone stupid? Normally I would have said stupid. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but in this case the weight of evidence does seem to lean towards malice. This here is a puff piece in the New Statesman, which, for those of you who don't know, is a very leftward-leaning magazine, and it was written before the last election. The writer, Rachel Wearmouth, said that Reeves and her sister delighted in taking on boys at a nearby private school in chess tournaments. Let's get that there. Yeah, here we are. As youngsters, the sisters delighted in taking on boys at a nearby private school in chess tournaments. Why didn't Wearmouth just say the Reeves sisters had competed in chess tournaments with local schools? Because it was the private school bit that was the important part of it. Reeves would have had to have said that they got satisfaction out of beating those particular boys, and that's what stuck in the journalist's mind. I have to say here that when I played chess with anyone, I couldn't give a stuff what school they went to, and if I beat them, I felt no more than that two brains had had a contest. Actually, frankly, I did have a couple of chaps looking quite angry when I won, but this was many years ago, and I was more interested at the time in their personalities than the schools they went to. That is, when they got angry, I felt it was them that was to blame, nothing to do with their schools. Actually, I didn't feel much of a sense of triumph when I did win either, except on a couple of occasions where people were being objectionable. But that's another story. But my lack of joy at winning is probably why I never took up the game particularly seriously. I always ended up feeling bad for my opponent. Anyway, the fact that she was happier that she beat a private schoolboy, that's malice. That really is. And this article here is just filled with resentment. So let's have a quick look at it. Rachel and Ellie Reeves, two powerhouses of the Keir Starmer Labour Party. I want to point out they are two sisters. Well, they are sisters. And they've both got cushy jobs in the Labour Party. And if any Conservative family had been in that situation, everybody would have been screaming nepotism, especially somebody like Rachel Wearmouth and the New Statesman. It's the pair's first joint interview, twitters the journalist. I encouraged her to work hard, Rachel smiles. Oh, for God's sake. Now, Rachel Reeves, in another article or interview she wrote, said how terrible her state school was, and that there was a class that was being taught in a prefab sort of trailer thing, classroom, in the playground, or something along those lines, and how awful that was, as if private schools don't resort to that occasionally. But if you look at this, they went from a comprehensive school to Oxford University. Well, that's not bad, is it? I mean, what do they have to be resentful about? And this is, it's taken for granted throughout this article that two sisters in a sort of in a situation that's open to accusations of nepotism, both went to Oxford University from a comprehensive school. I mean, I'd be gibbering with gratitude over that sort of thing. But Rachel Reeves, no, All she was thinking of was how the private school boys were in a nicer school than hers, the way she saw it. Rachel wanted to become an MP from the outset and found a seat in Leeds West. And Ellie agonised over the decision to stand for her home constituency of Lewisham West and Penge in 2017, which followed the 2016, can I say that on YouTube? Anyway, deletion of the Reeves friend Joe Cox, the MP for Batley and Spen. Ellie was also left shaken after having lunch with her husband, John Cryer, the chair of the Parliamentary Labour Party, when the palace was targeted by a terrorist attack in March 2017. So here we have two sisters who both got seats as MPs for the Labour Party, and it turns out that one of them is married to the chair of the Parliamentary Labour Party. I mean, what does that look like to you? Because I don't suppose I have to describe what that looks like to me. So Rachel backed Ed Miliband, and then she didn't like Jeremy Corbyn, but her sister Ellie was the parliamentary private secretary in Corbyn's international team. So while one of them was on the supposed to be on the softer side of the Labour Party, and the other one was on the sort of hard left side, they were balancing each other out and therefore able to, well, help each other, I suppose. So, what else do we have here? Yes, during their youth, Rachel, a junior chess champion, right. Rachel, so I happen to have some figures here. She competed in the under-12s in 1990 and she came 19th. So she played in a chess championship. That was as far as it got. The under-12s, she came 19th. In the under-13s, which I suppose was a year later, she came 29th. And in the under-14s, which would have been a year after that, she came 26th. As a matter of fact, the actual champion for that year was a young woman called Emily Howard, who is now a well-known composer. That's somebody with a real mind that's not been made up anywhere. So what else do I have here? Both of us have worked in a very male-dominated environment. Make up your mind, woman. Me in economics, Ellie in law, Rachel says. But chess was a good experience because people underestimated us. They underestimated us because we were girls, and they underestimated us because we went to a state school. None of that is true. I'm sure it isn't. First of all, if they'd been underestimated, they wouldn't have got into Oxford, would they? And as for people perceiving them as just being girls, well, some might, and others might not. And it looks like she has this enormous chip, which I can imagine came from her parents. Rachel recalls receiving top A-level results. I'd like to check on that. And the parents of private school children being snobs. Were they? Or is that just the way she liked to look at them? Because it seems like she looks at life through a particular sort of lens. And that lens is nothing but good for her and evil for everyone else. What I also feel very strongly is that because we were constantly underestimated, I mean, has it occurred to her that maybe people were assuming she was substandard because she was substandard? I mean, are we underestimating her now as the Chancellor of the Exchequer? Well, my estimation of her couldn't be a lot lower. But is that under or not under enough? She says, we need to prove that 2 girls from State School in South London are just as good as any Eton or Winchester boy. Can you imagine saying that? I didn't go to Eton or Winchester. I don't feel any particular wish to prove that I'm as good as any Eton or Winchester boy. I just want to be as good as I can be. And that's all. Oh, by the way, I'm going to go off subject here because I made a video the last one I made, I think. It was when somebody had complained about the picture and said my camera needed adjusting. And I said, I can't. That's as far as it will go. It's just that sort of a camera. It's not the best. And I said, look, with my sort of subscription level, it's I don't earn that much. I honestly wasn't asking you for extra money, and some of you did send me, and that's so sweet of you. And somebody even offered to help buy me a camera. I was gobsmacked. Now look, I'm not in the high flyer range. A lot of people also reassured me that the picture was fine, and that's all I really wanted to hear. That one person who said the image isn't coming out well, it may have been his browser or whatever, and the number of you who said that the picture's fine, then that reassures me. And this camera here, it's old and cranky, but it does the job. So long as it's plugged in, it works. And when I become really highly professional and I have to, when I've got like double the number of subs I have now, and I'm actually going out maybe and interviewing people, I will need a better camera. But that is, that's for the future. Judging how long it took me to get what I've got now in the way of subscribers, quite far into the future. Okay, but for those of you who did send me some money, and for those of you, a couple of people who asked me about help, if I needed help buying a camera, I am so tired. I mean, with that, I was almost brought to tears. So thank you all. Thank you very much. But I'm fine at the moment. I'm doing all right. When I need to go to the next level, I'll see how it goes. Anyway, now I've completely lost my thread. 2 girls from the State School in South London, just as good as any Eton or Winchester boy. I mean, that's a really terrible thing to do, to think, to have in your mind, that you're constantly thinking of how you're going to outdo these boys in this private school of which you are so obviously envious, or rather jealous. There's a difference, isn't there? I mean, I wouldn't like to be in her brain. Mind you, I probably wouldn't have enough room. Okay, it seems she was more interested in getting her own back when it came to the chess thing than in playing the game. And it also seems that she's carried that chip on her shoulder all this time. And now she's in a position to wreck as many lives as possible. She's doing that. She wants to destroy private schools. Do you think that's got something to do with this? I think so. She wants to fragment private land ownership. I suppose she reckons that a lot of the people who go to Eton or Winchester are private landowners. And she wants to punish people who have private pensions. Anything where somebody owns their own property and might be using it to give themselves a leg up. She hates it. And so, yes, I think she's got this enormous chip on her shoulder. I think that what this reporter is casually writing about what appears to be a lot of nepotism and taking this whole idea of spite against private schoolboys. And now with what we know about the fact-checking that this reporter didn't do about what they've made up, what Reeves has made up about her history, it appears that Reeves is on a mission to destroy everything that she has a chip about. And she is doing that, as they say, with a vengeance. What a pair. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.